Hi and welcome back to another Amazon selling video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Nikki Kirk and I've been selling on Amazon doing retail arbitrage for 4 years now, all from my fifth wheel RV, which is currently out here in beautiful Montana. So in today's video, I'm going to be answering all of the frequently asked questions around Amazon ungating and my ungating guides and courses. So hopefully this video is helpful, and before I get into that, I just wanted to say why I started these guides or created them in the first place. When I first heard about selling on Amazon doing retail arbitrage, I was living in Los Angeles in an apartment, but I was getting ready to move into an RV to travel the country full time. So I needed something to do because I did not want to do my 9-to-5 desk job, even though I probably could have done it remote. I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I did some research and I ultimately settled on a course that I purchased because that's the way I learn best, is by someone like step by step telling me how to do it, which, fun fact, that's how I teach because that's how I learn best. But anyways, so that's how I started back in 2017. While I was in LA though, before we took off, I actually was a part of a fitness community online, Kayla Etnis. I don't know if you guys know who that is, the Sweat community, but this was before it was called Sweat and all of that. So we used to host BBG, which is what it was called, meetups in Los Angeles, and I would film them and put the videos up on YouTube. So fast forward to when I started selling on Amazon, I had already kind of been making videos for YouTube, so for whatever reason I actually filmed me from the very beginning of my Amazon journey. Now I put it out there, I'll link the first video here if you want to see it, but it says I started out by saying, if you're watching this video, then I have become a successful Amazon seller. And if you watch it, I'm saying it all timid, like against the RV, super quiet, because I hated the sound of my voice. Maybe I was just putting it out there that I'm going to be successful at this, and I was just projecting it forward that one day someone is going to watch this video, even if it was never going to be anyone but me. But honestly, quitting Amazon never crossed my mind, so I guess I did know it was going to work out in the end. So when I was successful after 5 months of selling, I pulled out a profit and started paying myself every month from my Amazon selling business. I started to talk about it, and I talked about it on Instagram because that is my main social media where I prefer to be. It's just easy. I like photos, all that kind of stuff. So before YouTube, I was definitely on Instagram. So I started talking about it then, and I got some friends and followers asking me a lot of questions. So I would answer them here and there, and then in May of 2019, I actually started the BOLO group. Be on the lookout. It was created to help these new sellers who are asking me what to buy, what should we buy. It was created so that they could talk to each other, ask questions, tell each other what they're buying, where they're finding it, and just be in a safe place where we all respect and are gonna not, tear those leads or tank the price and all of that. So that was why I created the BOLO group. And then from the BOLO group, sellers were asking me in the group, how do you get ungated? And I had gotten ungated myself. Back in October of 2017, I actually went through the whole process of how to get ungated in grocery, place my order, and all of that. And so I knew how to do it. And then fast forward to 2019, that same supplier actually could ungate sellers with a lot of different categories. So there was grocery, topical, OTC, tons of different brands like Huggies and all of that, Crest, Dove, all of those that you need to get ungated, and that supplier had them for one low cost. So I went ahead and I created a guide of step-by-step how to do it. From there, I also knew how to get ungated at toys at that point, so I went ahead and I made a separate toy guide. Now the reason they're separate is because they are two different suppliers. That's the only reason. If it was one supplier for all, I would have one guide that says you could do it all here. Since they're separate, I break down the process for the specific supplier, literally how to open an account, how to search their website, all of that stuff is in each guide, so that again is why they're separate. And then fast forward this year, I actually created my third guide, which is all around the premium brands like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, so those bigger brands that sellers were asking me how to get ungated, I went ahead and made a guide with what I know. Everything that I've created, from these free YouTube videos to my guides, courses, BOLO group, it has all been from sellers asking me for help. So selling on Amazon, I still sell. It is still my favorite thing to do. I love going sourcing. I don't necessarily like packing it up, but I love selling the stuff. So that will always be my favorite thing. And I also really enjoy helping sellers along the way. And these things just came out of people asking me for my help. I actually have some really big plans to continue to grow my Amazon selling business next year, so I'm super excited, and I'll share all of that as it happens, but my Amazon selling business is still the favorite thing I love to do. Okay, so that's how the guides were created and why I created them. Now let me jump into the frequently asked questions around the guides and ungating. If you're wondering what ungating even means, it is actually a frequently asked question here on YouTube. I'm sure as people are searching and they hear me talking and they're like, what the heck is that? Ungating means you are restricted on Amazon, so you'll see either a restricted or request approval or approval needed or a red bar. It looks a little different. I'll flash a couple right here, but no matter what it is, it just means that you can't sell it. Your Amazon account cannot sell that item. You are gated. So you get ungated, which is not a term I came up with. It was just the term that was in the Amazon universe, so that's what I use for my guides. Some people are asking me if the guides are still relevant and working. Yes, they are. Like I said, the premium brand one I just created 4 months ago now. The Topical and Toys Ungating group has actually been updated quite a few times, so they are still relevant and working. In any new updates, I make sure to update the guides. There's also so much information. Both the Toy Ungating guide and the Topical Grocery have their own Facebook groups, so if you have both guides, you could be in both groups. But there's so much additional information and helpfulness that come from those. And I'm gonna take a break throughout this thing just to show you some of the recent successes, because I think it's important not to just hear from me, but hear from real sellers who are sharing in the group their successes. So in addition to the 3 US guides, I actually have 2 Canada guides, a Canada Toy and a Canada Topical Grocery guide. So if you are a Canadian seller, those are available to you. Those suppliers will ship to Canada. The US guide suppliers will not. So please don't buy the wrong guide because the supplier might not send to you. One of the other most frequently asked questions is, can you get ungated on Amazon without ever having sold anything? And the answer is yes. It doesn't have anything to do with your account and like how many sales you've had. You can open your account today and then tomorrow start getting ungated before you ever make your first sale. Another question I get asked a lot is, what about my receipts from Walmart? Won't those work? No, Amazon is requiring an invoice, a valid invoice from a supplier or distributor or wholesaler or whatever you want to call them. It has to be a business invoice. It cannot be a store receipt. Another question I've been asked is, what do you do if Amazon asks for an invoice? Well, this is when you get ungated. If they're asking for an invoice, that simply means your account is gated. Now, in the Amazon app or even on the desktop, you can go ahead and request approval, which I always recommend doing because you never know what you might get auto approved in, auto ungated. That's when you ask for approval and you are approved. You don't have to have an invoice at all. But if it asks for an invoice, at that point is when you have to have an invoice. Another question is, what guide should you start with? If you are a new seller, I always recommend the Topical and Grocery guide. That's where I would go first, just because for a small amount of money, around $250, you can get ungated in so many categories. That is why I suggest that. It opens up so many high profit categories. But you can start wherever you want. Honestly, if you are seeing more of the premium brands out there, or if you want to start with toys, you can do that too. Another question I'm often asked is, do I guarantee it? I can't guarantee it. I can't guarantee it's going to ungate you because I'm not Amazon, and Amazon who is approving your account and saying, yes, you can sell in these categories based on your invoice. So that's nothing I control. It works. It's worked for thousands of sellers, so there's no reason to say that it won't work, but I can't guarantee it. Do you have to have an LLC? No, you do not have to have an LLC or business license to sell on Amazon or get ungated if you have a resale certificate. So that's another question. Do you have to have a resale certificate? You do have to for the toy guide and the toy guide only. For the Topical and the Grocery and the premium brand, you don't have to have a business or LLC or a resale certificate. You as a sole proprietor, as you are, can get ungated. For the toy, you do have to have a business license or a resale certificate, which is a tax license from your state. So you do have to have one of those for the toy guide, but for the other, you do not. Now, you can get a resale certificate as a sole proprietor from your state. You don't have to have an LLC or a business for that. So just so you know. Another question I've asked about the guide is, does it come with an invoice or a letter? No. It tells you how to place your order to get your invoice. It does not come with the invoice or letter. I'm telling you the real way of how you as a business can place your order. And when I say business, I mean you are running an Amazon business. That's what I mean by business. But I'm telling you how you can place your order to get the invoice you need and everything you need to do to make sure it works. Another question is, do you have to buy 10 of every single item, or can I buy 2 of this, so it's 10 units total on the invoice? You have to buy 10 of every item that you want to be approved in. So if you're trying to do Toy Story, it has to be 10 Toy Story things. If you're trying to do Mattel, it has to be 10 Mattel things. If you're trying to do grocery, it has to be 10 of the same grocery item. Now, there are ways, and I talk about it in the guide, how you can do, like, I use a Frozen Uno card as an example, because that will get you for Frozen, probably Disney, and also toy category, and also Mattel. So that's something that you could get ungated in 4 different things by just one purchase of 10 items, but you do have to do 10 items. And this is not a requirement that I'm saying, it's from Amazon. So if you've hit request approval for the invoice, then you'll see that Amazon is asking for 10 items. Do the guides tell you what to buy? No, they do not. And the reason is that the supplier's inventory changes all the time. So I tell you how to look through it and how to identify products, like I just talked about that Uno card game. But you have to dig through the current supplier's inventory to find an item for your account, because every Amazon seller's account is different. What is gated for me might not be gated for you, or vice versa. So you have to check your own account, but I walk you through all of that in detail so that you can make sure you don't mess up on your order. Apart from the guide costs, what can you expect to spend? As I said in the Topical Grocery OTC guide, you can expect to spend anywhere from $200 and $250. The minimum order is $200, which is why with shipping it comes out to, and depending on what you order, it could be as little as $250 to ungate you. And as always, your orders are expenses on your taxes. They're tax write-offs for your business. So there is that perk, even though it is an expense right now. For toys, there's no minimum order, and for the premium brand, there's no minimum order, so it's all up to you. You can piecemeal it, you can order here and there, you can order however much money you have. When I did the Under Armour and Jordan, I spent $80 and $90, so it was like $170, I think, altogether. On toys, I think I spent about $500. I can't really remember, it was like back in 2018 now, but I got ungated in all the categories that I needed, like Star Wars, Marvel, WWE, Mattel, all of those kind of things. So again, for the Topical Grocery, it's $200, $250, and for the other guides, it's whatever you want to spend or can spend at that time. There's no minimum order. Now this is probably one of my most frequently emailed questions. They want to know, it says on Amazon, it says an invoice and a letter. How can I get the letter for Nike? It's actually an either or question. It's saying you can have an invoice or a letter, and since you have an invoice, you don't have to worry about the letter part. How do the invoices come? Do they come in the mail or are they emailed to you? It varies by the supplier, but for the most part, they all come in the box with your shipment. After you submit the 10 items to Amazon that's on the invoice, do you have to sell them? Can you sell them somewhere else? You do not have to sell the items that you are buying. In fact, sometimes, most times, they won't make a profit, but you shouldn't be looking to make a profit when you're trying to place your ungating order. You just want to get ungated, so you could donate them, you can try and sell them, you can sell them on another marketplace, or I think some people do Facebook Marketplace to sell them. So wherever you want to do with them, you do not have to sell them on Amazon. So those are my most frequently asked questions. Again, every video I have has the links, so you just click below and all the links to this guides are there for you, as well as my beginner FBA selling course and the BOLO group. So whatever you need, or if you just want to hang out with me here on YouTube, you are so welcome to. I enjoy making these videos and I will be back for more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It does me a huge favor as I continue to put out these videos for you guys here. Thank you so much and have a great week and happy sourcing.